Right now, Brandon, it's your turn. Would you like to talk?
Sure, that's good. Hi, my name is Ben Harrington. I am a handicap student about us. Right now, I'm no, I got it.
I'm still the mom.
Not bad. Not bad. It's Tim Harrington and it's my parents, Tim and Shy Harrington.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm a gap artist in Moorpark. I have nice worker. I have a good job and I am critical training. I'm training new people. We got new people coming in and I train them every time. Yeah, I like it and I work with 6 years with this company. I have a great boss, and I got my assistant manager is Dan. My head manager is Tanti. Both of them is my manager for funds. Oh yeah, I'm back. Sorry. I got COVID now.
For how long?
8 years right now with her. She's sitting with me. She's well, can I say that?
You can say.
Cool. Bona is a handicap with me.
You're both Downs.
Both Bona and Downs too.
Where'd you meet her?
I met her at I met her at Long Beach, and I play
Special Olympics?
Dad.
Okay.
Here all day.
I know. Yes. Special Olympics. I play basketball. She played sit there with me. Sweetheart, always. I love her, and I'm glad she's someone I want.
Married? You want to marry
Oh
her?
yeah, I'm a.
She's
No, I tell her.
a little sweetie.
Yeah, that's it. I got 2 sisters with me. 14-year-old
Sister is McKenna. How about if I talk for a little bit? How's that? So he has 2 sisters. Courtney is 26, and she has a little baby. Married real young, and we thought, oh, this happens to older people, right? So we were a little surprised. I think all 3 of us have God in common in our lives, so we prayed about it to help us, whatever decision was made, because they had to do blood tests and stuff. But then we found out that he had an atrial ventricle canal, and so we had to have open heart surgery when he was 6 months old, then again when he was 7 months old. Kind of really tested our faith. But it's been an absolute joy. And when we had Brandon, there wasn't a lot of programs like this. And maybe there was, but I mean, for God's sakes, the internet wasn't even around, right? Somebody came out from the county, actually out in the north part of the valley, in San Fernando Valley, and it was shouldn't, couldn't, wouldn't, all the stuff. And so she laughed, and Michelle went to one part of the house and cried, and I went to the other part, because we thought, well, that's it, right? And so my boss, because we found out about Brandon's heart surgery for heart issue, my boss told me about the infant program at Simi Hospital. And so I called the county and I said, is that true? And they said, no, there's no such program like that. And I said, the lady was probably about my age, but I thought she was really old. And so, no, there is. And my boss told me. So I called up the hospital and it worked. I'm sorry. And literally just called the operator at the hospital and asked if they had a program for Dan's kids. And Robin picked up. And at the time, I think there was probably less than 20 kids in the program. It wasn't very big.
Yeah.
But that was the ticket for us, because Michelle would go 2-3 times a week. At first we had somebody come to the house because of his heart issues, and then she got real involved. And to this day, some of our best friends from the.
Let me back up a little
Okay.
for a second. I'm sorry.
My goodness.
No, no. The reason why I'm going to back up till his birth is because this has always stuck with me. Brandon is 27. Tim and I were 24 when we had him. And there was no complications with my pregnancy at all. And so when he was born, I was in 24 hours of hard labor. And I never delivered him naturally. He went into heart distress, and so I had to have an emergency C-section. So Tim was by himself when the doctor told him that he had a Down syndrome baby boy. So he had asked the nursing staff not to tell me until he came back the next day, because we had him so late and I was out. When the doctor came in to tell me about Brandon, I was so excited. I couldn't wait to see him. And I still didn't know what I had. I just wanted to see my baby. And it was early in the morning. The doctor comes in and proceeds to tell me I had a Down syndrome child. Okay, I've never heard of the terminology Down syndrome. Granted, it was 27 years ago. Mongoloid was the term. So I had to understand, comprehend, and he said to me, I'm not bringing you the baby because there are homes for these children. 27 years ago. So,
Anyway.
I told them, bring me my baby. The nurse came in, I looked at her and I was furious. I said, bring me my child right now. So she brought him and he left because he was just a little perturbed with me. Because I was only 24. There are homes. So anyways, he came, I called him, and he came straight to the hospital. But from that moment on, when he was put into my arms, he was not going to be labeled. And so the best thing that happened to me that day, bonding to Brandon by myself with no one else around, he was a child. He was my child. And then Tim and I had to discuss, how are we going to present him to our family? Not to the world. We're going to present our child to the family. And we had decided not to tell our family. He was going to be a boy. He was going to be our little boy. He was going to be introduced to the world as our child, who is Brandon. We were not going to label him, and we were not going to have anyone else label him. And then the heart problems started. So our family didn't realize, except for our mom and dad. I'm sorry, we did tell our parents. They didn't realize Brandon was Down's until we had to tell them that they no longer come visit him because we needed to keep him healthy for the heart surgery. So our families did not know till he was 6 weeks old. Meanwhile, they had already formed Brandon. He's Brandon. He's a little boy, you know. So, anyways, for all of the teachers, for all the new moms out there, the only thing I can really offer you is don't label your child. Don't give up on your child. Love them for who they are, because no matter what, if your child was like our two daughters, they have their limitations, or no matter what. Every child has a limitation. So deal with it.
Thank you. Now a word from our sponsor. So we've had some health issues here and there, right, and kind of dealt with them. And it was funny, before you pointed out the poem, I was going to actually mention that it was like we planned, and it was like Brandon was the first grandson of the family. My parents have 26 grandkids today. But he was the first grandson, so it was like a big deal, blah. And so, anyway, so we dealt with his health issues, and then as Michelle said, it's business as usual.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what, no, come on, get up, just like everybody else is. We treat them just normal. So, he's got better manners than I do. Yes, as he mentioned, he's actually the head courtesy clerk and trainer at Vaughn's grocery store in Moorpark. So if you shop out there, everybody knows him. If you try to introduce him to somebody, everybody knows him. Nobody knows us anymore. We've been out there about 26 years, and we just signed up for a gym a few years ago, and I said, oh, Kevin, by the way, he's like, hey, Brandon, what's up? He goes, you don't have to introduce him. Everybody knows the mayor. So he's real involved in the community. He's been in Special Olympics since the mini meets out in Glendale back in 1985. We had a Challenger division in Moorpark. He's always played Little League, always interacted with the kids. He's been a Boy Scout, a Cub Scout. He's a Eucharistic minister at the church. Before that, he was an altar server. People actually tell me they get out of other lines to get in his line to get the host. It's kind of cool. School, he was on the dance team at the high school, and actually did solo dances at the halftime. Michelle and I are like perspiring and singing choruses, but he's an unbelievable dancer. And in fact, when his little sister started taking dance lessons, the teacher said I could pick her out because she's got moves like her older brother. she knows him. Special Olympics is the ticket. I can't say enough positive things about Special Olympics. It's been just awesome. He's in good shape. He goes to the gym after work by himself and walks home. It's more than sports. It's a socialization event for the kids. They have dances and stuff like that. And then the work and training program, we were real involved in that for a while, and they kept telling us, you know what, he doesn't need work and training. He needs to just go get a job. And so actually we were praying about it, and then next thing you know, we're at Vaughn's all the time, right? And they said, Brandon, why don't you work here? And we like looked at him. I went home with him online and filled out the application. And they called and said, come on down. And you know, they do mystery shopping, and you know, I've had the managers all pull me aside and go, he is the best worker we've ever had. And I said, I thank you. And they're like, no, I'm serious. He's, on time. He does a good job. He's very thorough. He's gotten perfect scores on all of his mystery shops.
I got a perfect 8. Yes.
8? How come there's only 6? Okay. But he's real involved in the community. Everybody knows him, and it's just, he's out there. He's Brandon, as Michelle said. There's no special label. He's a young man that actually has given Brianna a promise ring, and she was in the infant STEM program. And so we knew the parents a little bit. She's a year younger than him, and then they hooked up again. When they were 14 or 15 at a Long Beach Special Olympics tournament, and so they've been dating since then. So yes, you've got one friend that's getting married, and
one friend of mine got engaged.
And who's the best man?
Best man is me. No.
Because I was busy, right?
Yeah. Name is Robin and David, because I know both of them really well. Asked me and said, Ben, I need you to be the best man. I said, this month. And then I have my cousin, my mom's side of the family. My cousin, Christopher, got married, have a baby too. Christopher, my cousin asked me to be the best man for the wedding.
Twice.
Twice in a row.
Yeah.
And first of all, I'll say yes. Because I know my cousin really well.
So again, I can't say enough. This is not a plug, but it is for Special Olympics. I mean, the bowling, all the events they do, they all get together, they all hang out, they go to parties and dances together. He does bocce ball, basketball, track.
Golf.
Doesn't do track.
Softball.
Oh, softball. And I coach the softball program actually in Conejo Valley. But there's a lot of really great benefits from Special Olympics. Anyway, I think.
I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I know it's time. We're going through the school programs. Remember, you as a parent for the moms who are here and dads, you are their only advocate. And do whatever you can. Don't take no for an answer. I never did. I do, and also go up to newborn babies and go and just talk to the moms. this is how I met you. She was having breakfast,
A quiet breakfast.
a
with her
quiet
family.
breakfast with her daughter and her parents, and I just kept watching and watching. I was the actual person you were talking about earlier. I was watching them that day, and
I didn't notice, so I wasn't scared of her.
Now she is. Now she is. She walked in there, oh my God.
and I went up to her and I just said, you know, she's beautiful, she's gorgeous, and you know what? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Because you are the ones who are going to bring up our young children into the new world, and they have to feel good about themselves. You have to believe in them. This is who Brandon is, because Tim and I believed in him. Everyone around me. I mean, I would, if someone was staring at me, I would turn around and I would educate them. He has Down syndrome. He's healthy, he's fine, and he's going to do whatever he wants in life. And we have lived up to that, because there are some challenges. One of the first thing that we really faced was when our daughter was getting her driver's license. And he goes, how come I'm not getting mine? I'm older. That was interesting. So we, oh, sorry. So what we did is he went at the same time as his sister, and he got his California ID card, and she got her driver's license. So they both came in the mail at the same time. Those small things you don't recognize, but they do. And make them proud. They're wonderful. But be proud of them. Take them out in the community. Get them involved. Because Brandon was always grocery shopping with me, his favorite pastime of eating, he got a job at the grocery store. And I'm very proud of him because now he's the trainer.
Yeah, he didn't want to work. They wanted him to move to the butcher department. Promotion, right?
Oh, yeah,
The
I did.
bakery actually, and he didn't like being back there. He's out front. I mean,
He's
everybody,
a
the
soul.
priest, everybody from our church, everybody's like, we go to the grocery store to see Bub because he changed a lot. Huh?
That made fun of me.
Okay.
Oh!
So anyway, so it's been a blessing. The little blessing too is both our daughters are very compassionate. They're
Oh, yes.
right.
With me.
With you and probably with everybody, they truly, I mean, and we never really talk about it, but you can tell when they're in a group setting, they make sure that everybody's involved. And it has nothing to do with people with special needs, it's just that they're very compassionate about keeping everybody involved in whatever's going on. So little things like that in life that are truly, I mean, there's been a lot of blessings, but there's things sometimes you look at kind of the other items, so. Thanks.
We are all blessed.
Yeah.
Seriously.
That's beautiful, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for any of the parents or kids or anything?
What did you do as far as education for Randall? What did you start off in full inclusion?
Actually, we moved to Moorpark back in '86.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, and he was still in the infant STEM program. And so there really wasn't any, for when he's 3, he goes to preschool, kindergarten. So Moorpark funded Dean Triggs. I don't know if you, they closed years ago. It was in Thousand Oaks. It was for kids with severe disabilities. So through Robin's coaching, she's like, he doesn't belong there, he belongs over in Simi at Sycamore actually. So Brandon, we went to a hearing, and Moorpark said, well, this is what we fund, and Robin was coaching, it's not about what you fund, it's what's best for our son. So we had probably 6 or 8 people came from, I mean, it was like the whole staff, they shut down that day, they all came to the hearing, and they then approved him to go to Sycamore. So he stayed there until he was in 5th grade, and then they transferred him over to Moorpark. Moorpark's got a wonderful school system now, so he was in Moorpark till he was graduated from high school, and then went into the Access program in Moorpark, and was in that till he was 21 or
22.
22, and then he did work and training. The police chief in Moorpark, so Brandon works at the high school. Just let me tell it, and you can talk some more about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
He has a daughter with Downs, and so Brandon and this guy named Hoppy, one of his buddies, they did paper shredding and cleaned up the offices and stuff like that, and they got paid for it. But Bub would go to have coffee with the mayor and the police chief and the city manager.
And we didn't know about it.
Yeah, really. And they'd pick him up in the police car, take him over to Fillmore to see the baseball games and stuff like that. So he was hobnobbing, and you know, we'd come home and like, you know, tell us about your day. He's like, well, I had, you know, ice cream with the mayor. I'm like, what? So, but anyway, so did you want to talk about working with?
Yeah,
The
I do.
police department.
Yeah. I worked at police department with Hoppy, my dad tell you. I'm showing up papers. I love them. Captain Diaz is my boss. The police department. I have my watch. My Captain Diaz
Retirement watch, yeah.
gave me. My friend of mine has it too. I like work there. Now I'm done in the police department. Now I work at Florence in Moorpark.
We you know, they have sobriety checks and stuff. There's been times where we've pulled up the sobriety check, rolled the window down. They're like, Brandon, go ahead, guys. And so you know, I'll go to park at the 4th of July deal, and they're like, oh, Brandon, oh, you just leave your car there.
For his education, we just made sure that we utilized everything we could. The hardest thing was speech.
Yeah.
First they went to, you know, they go through your insurance company, and they only take so many sessions for speech, and then the school takes over. For Downs, I'm not sure why it is, but you need all that you can get for the speech therapy, because it is concerning all the muscle. I learned this, what you said about the straw. I never knew that. All
At
the
every
time.
IEP we asked for speech. It was
Speech,
like
speech,
pounded
and
into them.
speech.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
Yeah.
it's,
But it's funny, if you're at the grocery store and you all of a sudden hear him go, so-and-so, line 3, I'm like, he's perfect, you know?
how come we can't do that at home though?
You got to speak up.
But
That's all.
it's, and then after, you know, it was kind of concerning after, where do they go after high school? I had a big concern with that. But they now have the Access program, which is a college-based transition. So they think they're going to college, oh, I'm sorry, you are going to college, sorry.
Yeah.
They are
Next month.
taking college walking classes or golf, or they're taking some type of program
Walking
here in Moorpark. So they do continue to go to college, that's their college. But they're actually walking the community too and learning how to be established outside in their community. And then from there at 22, they graduate from there, and then they go to the working training program, which teaches them how to have a job. And Brandon worked for Amgen for 2 years. And at that point in time when he was just starting to go through bonds, his job coach would say, you know, Brandon needs to move on, Brandon needs to move on. I go, but I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable where he's at. So that was a transition on my part. It's hard to let go. It's hard to let, that world is dangerous out there. But it's not.
He stays home by himself periodically, will go away.
Now that's hard.
Yeah, but he does fine. He's a great he's a great cook. I hide the beer though. He's a great cook, and he, you know, we always said, God, you know, I wish that his sisters were as good. His room is immaculate.
Yeah.
Cleans his room. I mean, he has his own bathroom. He is a great housekeeper, or whatever you want to call it. He takes real good care.
Clean my room.
Yeah, very
That's my
methodical.
room.
Yeah.
Yeah, with this marriage, our next step is marriage for Brandon. We all know that, and everyone around us knows that as well. My biggest thing right now for him, and we've discussed this, is that we need to find someone who can assist us in marriage coping, you know?
Like a marriage encounter type thing.
Yeah,
for
marriage
people with special
encounter,
needs, yeah.
and because now you're seeing more and more people getting married, which is absolutely wonderful. okay, where are you gonna live? How are you gonna do financing? How are you going to, you know, you're getting to work, coming, because I still do that still. I mean, does all his finances with him, and I do all, okay, you need to go here, we're going on a date. Okay, where do you wanna go? How much do you need? You know, that type of stuff you're going to see, but then you need to let go because they wanna get married. And whose responsibility is that?
It's mine.
See, and that's the point we're trying to reach now. But anyways,
Thank you for letting us